It all started on a cold, rainy evening when I received a message that would change my life forever. I never thought someone so close could betray me, and yet there it was, clear as daylight. She was smiling in my memories, calling me her friend, the one person she could trust, and yet behind my back, she had been plotting the unimaginable. I sat there, staring at the screen, feeling a mixture of disbelief and anger, not knowing whether to cry or scream. For years, I had been loyal, supporting her in every way possible, sacrificing my own happiness just to see her succeed. And now, she had turned everything upside down. The irony was unbearable. Every memory replayed like a painful loop, smiles, shared secrets, promises that now seemed like cruel jokes. I couldn't tell anyone, I needed to figure this out myself. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was personal. She had crossed the line, underestimated me, and that was her biggest mistake. I started making a plan, quietly, patiently. Every move had to be calculated. I couldn't let anger or rash decisions ruin everything. Silent payback had to be precise. I began documenting every detail of her actions, every lie, every betrayal, and storing them somewhere safe. She had no idea that the person she hurt the most was also the one preparing the most meticulous revenge. I learned something important that night: patience can be the deadliest weapon when wielded correctly. It was no longer about justice or right and wrong, it was about ensuring that the consequences were unavoidable and undeniable. The calm before the storm, they say, is the most powerful moment, and I had mastered it. Weeks passed, and I stayed under the radar, pretending nothing had happened. Everyone around me saw the same smiling, normal person they always knew, oblivious to the storm brewing beneath. But inside, every thought revolved around one objective: silent payback. I started small, observing her routines, her interactions, noting weaknesses that she exposed unknowingly. Every friend she trusted, every careless message, every hint of arrogance, it all became ammunition. The more I watched, the clearer the picture became. I realized she thrived on attention, believing that her charm made her untouchable. That assumption would be her downfall. One day, a small opportunity presented itself, an accidental leak she had made online. It wasn't much, just a tiny oversight, but I saw potential. From that single spark, I began building a plan that could dismantle her carefully constructed world piece by piece. My actions were subtle, invisible to anyone who wasn't looking closely. I used patience like a master craftsman uses tools, carving slowly but effectively. She laughed, celebrated victories, and remained unaware that each step she took brought her closer to the consequences she had never imagined. The beauty of silent payback is in its invisibility. People often think revenge is loud, dramatic, and immediate. But the most powerful revenge is quiet, like a shadow following you everywhere, leaving its mark without anyone realizing until it's too late. By now, my preparation was nearly complete, and every detail of her downfall had been mapped. There was no room for error, no space for impulsive decisions. This was not anger, it was precision, control, and patience combined into one unstoppable force. As the plan took shape, I began inserting subtle changes into her world. Small inconveniences that seemed coincidental to everyone else, but to me, were pieces of a puzzle forming a masterpiece. She started noticing things, but never connecting them to me. Emails went missing, opportunities she thought were safe disappeared, her social image subtly eroded by whispers and hints I planted carefully. Friends began questioning her choices, doubting her judgment, not knowing why. And the best part? She had no idea that I was orchestrating everything from behind the scenes. Every laugh, every confident move she made, every celebration, it all fueled my strategy. The more she underestimated me, the stronger my position became. Revenge, I realized, wasn't about hating someone, it was about teaching them a lesson they couldn't forget. I documented every success, every minor setback she encountered, always adjusting, always controlling. The plan was evolving like a living organism, adapting to her moves while keeping me completely hidden. Friends started avoiding her, partners became cautious, and slowly, the isolation began. Not through lies or drama, but through carefully designed circumstances that made her question everything she thought was real. I never spoke, never acted impulsively. Silence was my ally. Patience, timing, and strategy became my closest friends. And through it all, the lesson became clear: underestimating someone can be fatal, especially when they have nothing to lose and everything to plan. Then came the moment of execution, the culmination of weeks of preparation. Every thread I had pulled, every domino I had set up, was ready to fall. I didn't rush, I waited for the perfect alignment. The timing had to be flawless. The event came unexpectedly, an opportunity that appeared by coincidence but was, in reality, the final piece of my strategy. I acted with precision, revealing truths, exposing mistakes, and showing the world her actions in a way she couldn't deny. The reaction was immediate. Shock, disbelief, and humiliation followed. People she trusted turned away, doubting the life she had built. And I stayed in the shadows, silent, watching the storm unfold. The satisfaction wasn't loud, it was calm, deep, and complete. It wasn't about anger anymore, it was about justice, balance, and proving a point without ever raising my voice. She realized too late that the person she had hurt the most was also the one who had been preparing silently, learning, observing, and controlling every outcome. The beauty of it was in the silence. She couldn't fight back, she couldn't blame anyone, because no one knew the truth until it was too late. And in that quiet moment, I understood the full power of patience and planning. Revenge wasn't about destruction, it was about precision, learning, and delivering the consequences exactly as intended. After that night, life returned to a quiet normalcy, at least on the surface. I didn't celebrate or boast, I simply moved on, knowing that the message had been sent and received. She avoided me, friends whispered about what had happened, and the world subtly realigned itself. I learned something invaluable through this journey: the most effective revenge isn't public or explosive, it's silent, calculated, and inevitable. Patience and strategy outperform impulsive anger every single time. And more importantly, I realized the strength within myself, the ability to endure, observe, and act decisively when the time is right. I had faced betrayal, heartbreak, and deception, yet I emerged stronger, wiser, and more in control than ever before. Silent payback isn't about harming others, it's about ensuring that actions have consequences and that justice, in its own quiet way, is served. Every time I recall that night, the patience, the preparation, and the flawless execution, I'm reminded that true power lies in self-control, in calm calculation, and in letting action speak louder than words. And as I continue my life, one truth remains clear: never underestimate the silent observer, for their moment will always come, and when it does, it will be unforgettable.